Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just click the link in the show description to support now.
Hey, this is Booker T, 6-time world champion, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin. Now, can you dig that?
My brothers, my sisters, we certainly can dig that. Let me tell you something. It is finally here. The two-time WWE Hall of Famer Booker T joins Duke Loves Rasslin for a conversation like you have never, ever heard from Booker T before. Strap yourselves in, folks. This is going to be a fun ride. Before we get to any of that, though, check out this special message from our friends over at the River City Wrestling Convention.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt and Jeff Hardy are very excited to be returning to Jacksonville at the River City Wrestling Con. It is going to take place at the Jacksonville Fairgrounds, and we are hyped for this event. Are you? I'm very hyped, yeah. We are going to meet and greet and take pictures with everyone. It's going to be from about noon to 3 on this day, Saturday, June the 11th. And I promise, myself and Jeff, we will stay there, take every picture, sign every autograph until the line is deleted. It might be from noon to 4 if I do my fancy autograph. You might be right. It might extend a little bit. But I promise you, we are going to get everybody in, and it is going to be an amazing day with the Hardys. See you in Jacksonville on June the 11th.
Locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
Your host,
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
the Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Oh man, what does it mean to me to, mentor these young guys that's coming up? It means a lot. I think I get a lot out of, showing the young guys the ropes, getting the feedback from them. More importantly, the love, man, that they show after, coming to my school, getting that getting trained by me, getting that up close and personal touch with Booker T, realizing that I'm just like them and started out just like they did. It's really, really cool to see my young guys actually make it out there in the world and, just say, for instance, going to Japan, going to Germany, getting signed by AEW, getting signed by WWE. It's definitely rewarding in a way that money definitely cannot compare to the feeling that I get from, just mentoring young people. So it's pretty cool.
That one thing about you, Booker T, is that you've really maintained being grounded throughout your entire career. No matter how larger than life you've been on camera, behind the scenes, anyone that I've spoken to, anyone who's met you, they always say, Booker is just a down-to-earth person, man. Where does that personality trait come from? Because you could be this big shot and you could treat people like that, where I'm a star, so, don't look at me, or you only, I'll acknowledge you when I feel like it. But you're not that way at all. You're just a regular dude. Where does that come from?
I don't know, man. Honestly, I worked my whole life until I got into professional wrestling. I've been on my own since I was 16 years old. My mother taught me some very, very valuable lessons when I was a kid, as far as, please, thank you, yes, ma'am, no, sir. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice to people. And I think I still carry those traits with me to this day. I meet people, just say, for instance, I met someone, 20 years ago, and they took a photo with me, and now they're grown men. They got kids themselves and got a family themselves, and they see me again. And they say, man, you think I could take a picture with you? I met you 20 years ago. And I always say, man, was I nice to you? And they go, man, you was awesome. So for me, this has only just been a job to take care of my family, more so than anything. I've had a lot of fun along that ride, but it's been a job for me, and still to this day, that's the only way I look at it.
Booker, you have your own wrestling promotion, and it's tied into your school, Reality of Wrestling here. And it's really interesting to see that you're mentoring these young people, because I remember you when you first broke into the industry and where you started with the GWF, Global Wrestling Federation. Talk to me about the beginning, man. I mean, when I say Global Wrestling Federation, what are some of the first things that pop up in your head there?
Um, Global Wrestling Federation probably would be Manny Fernandez, Maniac Mike Davis, um, guys like James Beard. Those guys. That was a forum league for my brother and I. We got a chance to sit under the learning tree of Black Bart, peek out the curtain and watch these guys go out and create that magic. And you always wonder, how do they do it? And then you start figuring it out, bit by bit. It was awesome. It was a hot arena, no air condition, and it seemed like the perfect fitting for Booker T to go out and be able to create. It was an awesome environment being a part of the Global Wrestling Federation. And I really don't think I would have become the wrestler that I became if it wasn't for those stars in the Global Wrestling Federation, because those guys were grizzled veterans. They had been all over the world, and they were truly wrestling stars. And for me to, sit there and be a part of that was awesome, as well as all the guys that came through the Global Wrestling Federation, through the sportatorium per se. A lot of those guys went on to become major stars, So for me, it was a great time.
I'm from Boston, born and raised. I'm the son of law enforcement. And back in the 80s, early 90s, what was going on out there, Book. The crack era, gangs, gang colors, things like that. There was a lot of things going on. And one of the things that my parents did was they paid attention to what I responded to. And they made sure that if there was something that I latched onto, they kept giving me more of that thing. And for me, it was pro wrestling. I could never watch enough pro wrestling. We had cable, so I got to see wrestling from all over the world at a time when, it's cheap to put wrestling on TV. So everybody wanted wrestling content back then. And they used to use wrestling to keep me out of trouble. If you get your homework done, you can watch your wrestling. If you do your chores, you can watch your wrestling. So I would run home from school, Book, and I would get my homework done and get done whatever I have to get done, because at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I needed to watch the Global Wrestling Federation on ESPN. And nobody could tell me that Booker T and Stevie Ray, the Ebony Experience, wasn't the biggest tag team in the world. Okay, I was watching WWF, WWE now. I was watching NWA. I got to see Mid-South. I got to see ICW, which was local here in Boston. That was great. But Booker T and Stevie Ray were just as big as anybody else that I saw. And keep in mind, folks, Global was on ESPN. This was nationally syndicated and actually was syndicated around the world. So, Booker, you walked into the wrestling industry with that type of platform where you were already a star by the time you moved on to your next stop. Did you understand how big that was at the time, or was it just normal because that's how you came in?
No, I think I realized how big that was, from the beginning. For my brother and I, we, worked in the Global Wrestling Federation for about 18 months, and we didn't do like independent shows like guys do now. They go around, they work this show, they go next week, they're working that show. I had a regular job back then, and I was working 6 days a week, and that one day I could get off was to be able to go and wrestle. I would get off I would be off that weekend. Actually, I'd get off that Friday and that Saturday just to go and wrestle, and I would have to get right back to work. So I knew we had an opportunity there. It was a window. It was a window that was going to be open for so long before it closed. And we had the perfect platform being on ESPN. I always used to tell my brother, man, we good enough, man. They're going to call, you know what I mean? And we're just going to put in our work here. Somebody's going to call us sooner or later. And that's exactly what happened. But for that 18 months, it was an awesome time, because I got a chance to go to Japan. I got a chance to go to Korea. I got a chance to go to the Virgin Islands. Actually, James Beard, a guy in the Global Wrestling Federation, he was a referee, and he got me my first tour to Japan, my brother and I, and it was like, man, this is crazy. And I still had a regular job back in the States where I had to go to as soon as I came off that tour. But I knew, having that platform, being on ESPN was worth its weight in gold. I knew I couldn't pay for that television time, and would go in on Friday nights, and sometimes, I would try to work 3 times just so I could be on, at least 3 times throughout the week. And I knew exactly what I was doing because I felt like I was good at professional wrestling, and I felt like this perhaps could be my way out.
And of course, shout out to James Beard, a very good friend of the show. James is a frequent guest, and he has shouted you out numerous times. Again, as somebody who takes the time to acknowledge those who have been there and helped you along the way. There's so many who don't do that, Book. I mean, what do you think about that? What is it about you where it sounds like it's natural? And I listened to a lot of your interviews and what have you. I followed your whole career, been fortunate enough to literally see you from the very beginning all the way to today. Whatever you've done on TV or put online, I've been able to consume that and grow up with Booker T. I'm 39 years old now, man, but from grade school, I was watching you. What is it about you where you're not afraid to acknowledge those who've helped you? Because it's not something, unfortunately, that's common enough, man.
I don't know, man. I just do know I couldn't have made it to this point, just, on my own. It took a lot of people to get me to this point. The first person was Bruce Kasarch, a guy who sponsored me to go to the wrestling school. If that wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It was $3,000 to go to the school. It was a couple of dollars out of his pocket, you know what I mean? But for me, it was a lot of money that I didn't have. Making it to Japan, there again, James Beard, he was the guy that opened that door for me. My brother and I, all the tag team matches that, we won over the years, man. It took a lot of guys laying down for us, guys like, Ricky Santana and the Cuban Assassin, you know what I mean? I mentioned those guys when my brother and I went into the Hall of Fame, because those guys do not get enough credit for creating and making guys like myself. So for me, I just want to thank the people that helped me, make it to the top, just like a Hollywood John Tatum. The first time I wrestled Hollywood John Tatum, I said, what do you want to do in this match? He goes, just flop, brother. I learned a whole lot that night. Just keep my mouth shut and go with the flow. I'm a rookie. I'm green. But I appreciate all those guys more than anything because it's created a life for me that I never imagined or dreamt I would be in, and it's pretty awesome.
Now, see, you just put something in my head that I've always wondered. Now, Booker T, did you take some of Hollywood John Tatum with some of those karate kicks and what have you be doing? Because Hollywood John Tatum was a kung fu master now.
Yeah, exactly. He was. Yeah, man. I watched a lot of the Shaw Brothers productions. Man, I was a karate nut coming up, and John Tatum, he actually was one of my favorite wrestlers, one of my favorite characters to actually go out and watch and take notes from, because he was an entertainer, and all of those guys, they were the ultimate as far as wrestlers go, but they were some of the most awesome entertainers the business has ever produced. So for me, I've taken a little bit from all of those guys.
Man, I'll tell you, I love the fact that you brought those names up because, again, it just takes me back, and it's so wonderful. Back in, I think it was 2012, I received a book for my birthday. My birthday's in December, so just before Christmas, December 12th. I received the book, Booker T, From Prison to Promise. And, man, I read that book in one day. It's a short read anyway, but I read that book in one day, man. I couldn't put that book down. And even there, you're just acknowledging people who have helped you along the way. That book is really about, it's not even so much about you, it's about you giving flowers to those who've been there for you, which is just so special, man. Talk to me about your brother. Stevie Ray, as we know him, Lash, his real name there. You really go out of your way to acknowledge him and talk about the influence he's had over you and your life, and how he had the nice clothes and the cars and the pretty girls and all that, and you always wanted to be like him. And I don't think a lot of folk realize how serious that is, because when we fast forward to the Hall of Fame, when you and Stevie Ray are getting this honor together, I'm thinking back to what you wrote about your brother in your book, man, and I'll tell you, from an emotional standpoint, it was just something. It was so awesome. Talk to me about that relationship, bro.
Oh man, my brother was always the guy that I used to follow around. I'm always wanted to be like my brother. He always, I don't know, carried himself a certain way, and I just want to be like. I want to be as big as my brother as well. That never happened, but my brother was he was always there for me, even when I was a kid, little bitty boy. He was always, my hero, and he used to walk me home from school. I remember elementary school, Grimes Elementary. We happened to be in this same school at that one time in my life, and I remember he used to walk me home from school with his hand around my neck like a little dog or something. And I tell you, wrestling is not my dream by far. It's not my dream. I always tell people that I'm living my brother's dream. This is something my brother wanted to do, and he brought me along with him. And then, I've made a career out of it. But I do know if it wasn't for my brother, along with so many other people, if it wasn't for my brother, and saying, hey man, you want to join this wrestling school? You and I, we wouldn't be having this conversation. My brother was there for me when I came out of prison, and he just gave me a few simple rules. He said, "Man, I don't mind helping you, man, but whatever you do, whatever I help you, if I help you get a job, make sure you do that job to the best of your ability. To something else better come along. If you could do that, I'm willing to help you, but it was with stipulations. So I get it. I understand that. I tell people coming out of prison, can't expect for anybody to trust you. You got to gain that trust all over again. And my brother was willing to go put his name on the line for me, with his boss, which was that guy who gave me that $3,000, Bruce Kasarch. Yeah, Bruce, I remember I was talking to him one day, and he told me that before he hired me, he talked to my brother, and the one question he asked my brother, coming out of prison, can you trust him? And my brother said, yeah. And that right there was the beginning for me. Pretty much kicked everything off for me as far as getting me back on my feet. So, yeah, man, my brother's, he's always been that guy.
That's special. That's special. And you outlined that in that book. Once again, Booker T, From Prison to Promise. I encourage everybody. It's a short read. It's a great read. Check that out because it's something special. You don't even have to be a wrestling fan to learn some lessons from that. It's really special. Your wife, Queen Sharmel, Booker T, throughout your career, throughout your time with her, especially appearing on camera, you make sure that not only do you not dim that woman's light, because she is a star. She is a special person. Just her spirit, man, comes through so much. That's a star right there. You make sure not only do you not dim her light, but you take your light and put it on her light to make it an even bigger light, which is just something really, really special. And it's not a gimmick. It's not a game. This is Black love in its purest form. And, even my lady and I, man, we watched her Hall of Fame speech, Sharmel's Hall of Fame speech, and the way that you did the introduction, what have you. And even my lady said that, and she's not really a quote unquote wrestling fan, but she said, wow, Booker really is making sure that Sharmel is set up to have, this is her moment, and he's not trying to take away from her moment. And unfortunately, a lot of folks, they can't help themselves. This is what they do. But you are just a guy that, man, it's really, really, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in that. Talk to me about Sharmel and just the way that you continue to honor that beautiful Black woman.
Oh man, she's my queen. 17 years we've been married, and for her actually, to get her props, to get the ultimate chance to thank the fans, about getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was pretty awesome. That's something that we didn't expect in our household. But Sharmel has always been the one that just went out and put the work in. Ever since she was a WCW Nitro girl, and then that phased out, then she started wrestling, and then that kind of like phased out. Then she was like a manager, and then the company closed down. Then she went over to WWE, and she started wrestling there. People don't know that. She blew her knee out, and then thought that was the end. And then the creation of King Booker was all about my queen, Queen Sharmel. People think that character, that gimmick was about me. that wasn't created because of me. It was created because of Sharmel, and I got a lot more years out of my career, as well as King Booker. Now it's like, probably the top selling action figure that's out there, which is nuts. But she's always been in my corner. She's always, just say, for instance, every time after shows, we have to go to another town. A lot of people don't know that. We got to get in the car and we got to drive. Sometimes that drive is, excess of 300 miles. If it's over 300 miles, we fly. But if it was less than 300, we would drive. And every time, man, Sharmel would not let me drive after a grueling night. Being on the road, being in the ring, she would always take the wheel, make sure we got to our destination. And, I remember, I think it was Detroit, Chicago. We getting ready to catch a flight, but our flight was like in another 6 hours or so. And we was like, man, let's go to the hotel. And she was like, no, let's just sleep in the car, man. We ain't got. So I was like, that's ride or die right there, You get in a fight, and your woman jump in. You go, okay, this is a keeper right here, So Sharmel is definitely. She's played a role in so many different ways, and I'll continue to honor Sharmel. Even if she wasn't in the WWE or, my Hall of Fame or anything like that, she would still get the same treatment from me because she makes me whole in so many different ways.
That's black love right there, man. Shout out to the Queen Sharmel. Just tremendous amount of respect and appreciation for that woman. Big Vito LaGrazzo was all excited because they showed a clip of that feud that he had with Sharmel back in the day, man. And I talked to him and he said, let me tell you something. You will not find a classier human being. Sharmel is 100% straight up, genuine. That's a good person right there. And I said, wow, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
Reality wrestling. We've already seen some of the names that have passed through there and gone on to make a big statement in the industry. The goddess Athena and you got your man Gino and all these folks. But even fast forward to today, where you have some of my guys down there in Culture Inc. Shout out to Malik Bosidi. Talk to me about what's going on with reality wrestling right now, Book. I mean, it's big time going on, right?
Man, reality wrestling, 17 years. We've had our wrestling company. It's crazy. Getting close to 20, man. It's nuts. But it's awesome. The Usos, Brennan Williams came through. He's Mace now in the WWE. Of course, Athena was one of my first back in the day when I had my school downtown Houston. And, right now, AQA, she's in AEW. Roxy, now Roxanne just got signed in the WWE. I tell you, it's all about just putting the work in. My school is not just a school, it's a ministry. I try to use professional wrestling as a tool to try to create positive young men and young women. If the few that's got that talent to make it to the next level, we're definitely going to be pushing those guys to get to that next level. But the ones that perhaps don't make it to that next level, they're still going to go on a journey. They're still going to go on a ride, and they're going to create some camaraderies and friendships that they're going to remember and have for the rest of their lives. And then, more importantly, like I say, for me, I always tell them if you just turn out to be a positive young man, young woman, paying your taxes and taking care of your family, I've done my job. You know what I mean? If they, like I say, have that talent to get to that next level, I'm gonna put a word in for them and see if we can get them there. But it's all about togetherness. It's all about reality of wrestling is we're like a real family. We're like a real family, and sometimes you got to be hard on your family members to just get them right. But I tell you, Gino, you mentioned Gino, one of my young talent. He was a guy that when he was a kid, I remember he got in trouble, and police officer brought him to the school and told me what happened and whatnot. And I gave him an ultimatum. I say, you either can do this or you could do that, but you can't do both. And I look how that young man has turned out now. And sometimes with young people, they need a pat on the back or a kick in the butt. And I was that kid. I wanted the pat on the back as well as I wanted the kick in the butt. That's what I'm here for. I try to be as fair as I possibly can to each and every one of them. But just to let them know that, life is the hardest thing that they're ever going to deal with in life, and preparation is the only luck that you're ever going to have at making it in life. So that's what reality of wrestling is all about.
I love it. And anybody who gets a chance to be under the learning tree of Booker T, 100%. You heard it in this interview. You'll read about it in his book, any of his books, the whole 9 yards. He was that kid, which is why he's able to relate, and which is why he's able to do what he does. And you see the proof is in the pudding. Look at all these successful folk because they learned from Booker T and they had their natural skills, and the combination combined, man, it's only success. I love it. I love it. Listen, Book, we have the River City Wrestling Convention coming up June 11th and 12th. You're going to be there Sunday, June 12th, down in Jacksonville, Florida. What can folks expect when they see you at the River City Wrestling Convention?
I'm always going to be smiling, man. I'm always going to be having some fun. That's one thing about me is always, no matter how I feel when I do stuff like that, I truly, honestly know that it's not about me. It's about the moment that I leave, with that fan that interacts with me throughout that time, because it's something that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. So for me, it's not about me. It's about creating a moment. So rest assured that, Booker T is going to be on 100%. If you got some stories you want to talk about, we definitely can reminisce and go down memory lane, because a lot of those memories I don't remember until someone tells me about it, because I never wrestled for the memory for myself. I always wrestled for the memory for the fan to have, to one day interact with me and tell me about it. And I go, oh yeah, I remember that now, and it creates the conversation even more. So, so for me, I'm looking forward to coming out, shaking hands, kissing babies, taking a few photos and telling a few stories, and, checking in on my boys, Coach Inc., and, see exactly what they're up to more than anything.
That's right. I love it. RiverCityWrestlingCon.com. RiverCityWrestlingCon.com, folks. Get your tickets, please. Check out Booker T. Check out some of his great folks that he's also mentoring, including Culture Inc. Those boys, man, that's their convention. They always put on a good show at the River City Wrestling Con. You got to check it out. Listen, Book, what's the best way people can keep up with you, reality of wrestling, the whole 9 yards, man? Your show, plug away, please, Book.
Oh, man, of course they can check out my podcast, Hall of Fame, as well as I'm on ESPN 97.5 here, 92.5 as well here in Houston. And that's 4 nights a week, Tuesday through Friday, giving hot takes. Of course, you can catch me on Twitter at Booker T5X, as well as Instagram, and subscribe, Reality of Wrestling /YouTube, and get your feel of your reality of wrestling. Right now, we're close to 600,000 subscribers, man. So join the row and be a part of something special. So anyway you want to find me, there it is right there.
Have you subscribed to the Panera Bread Unlimited Sip Club? Folks, what are you waiting on here? We're talking $8.99 a month, so you can grab yourself a drink once every 2 hours. It is fantastic. And let me tell you something. They've expanded the Unlimited Sip Club. So not only can you get your hot or iced coffee or your hot or iced tea, now you can get the fountain drink. So if you want to grab yourself a soda, or check this out. Okay, we are talking about the charged lemonades. Strawberry lemon mint, Fuji apple cranberry, or the mango yuzu citrus. Okay, these are clean energy drinks, folks. Okay, we're talking about guarana and green coffee extract. Gives you a nice little boost. It certainly keeps me charged up to deliver the best episodes of Duke Loves Rasslin for you. So what are you waiting on? Visit your local Panera Bread or go to PaneraBread.com. Sign up for the Unlimited Sip Club. Enjoy.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Jay Bougie, your mama's favorite, and your girl calls me the greatest. May 20th, Invictus Pro Wrestling presents one night only TakeOver versus STP, which is the hottest feud in all of professional wrestling today. And you're going to see the Faceless Ones, the best damn tag team out here, going against the big bad Kaiju, O'Shea Edwards, and the prolific one Moses. Then you got the savage of all professional wrestling, going against the baddest, as he says, Shane Taylor. And then, of course, it's your boy, it's the God figure. It is Jay Bougie, going against the Rev, Ron Hunt, in a Bodega Street fight. This is a can't miss event. If you cannot be there, though, we will be streaming live on IWTV, but pull up to Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Tickets are available at www.eventbrite.com/Invictus. Tune in. Take witness. God bless.
Oh, yes, Danhausen here. Very nice, very full, very famous, etc., etc. Catchphrase, you know the thing. So he is coming to River City Wrestling Con in Jacksonville at the Jacksonville Fairgrounds of some sort. And it appears Billy Ass and the Ass Boys will be there too, so that's about it. Danhausen's good friends. Danhausen shall be doing a very evil Q&A of some sort. He'll be signing photos, taking photos with the fanhousens, doing all of those sorts of things. It'll be quite wonderful. You may come. It is June 11th. Or be gassed. It's Saturday.
Folks, as always, be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. Take it away, Tony Schiavone.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Rasslin.